Welcome everyone to today's Board of Education meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Do we have any citizens comments? No citizens comments. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I would like to make a motion that we adopt Roman numerals 3, 4, and 5.
I've got a motion by Mr. Nordholz. Here's a second. Got a second by Dr. Ramsey. All those in favor? Motion carries. All right. Item 6, information by departments. Dr. Williams.
Yeah, I just want to give you an update. Later this evening in the personnel report, you're going to see a recommendation for Gainesville High School principal. Tonight, we'll be bringing forward Mr. Roberto Rivera as the next principal at Gainesville High School. He's here with his family. We'll let him speak here in just a moment, but I want to tell you kind of our process that we use in Gainesville City Schools and what brought Mr. Rivera, of course, to the team. When we posted the job back in January, when Mr. Green informed his team that he was going to be leaving to go to Brazil, we wouldn't let him go anywhere nearby. He says, "You got to get out of the country, leave the continent, get out." And so we posted it, and we had a good bit of interest. It also was sent to sitting principals across the state, and so we had some great interest and great intrigue about kind of where we were headed. And I will say that Mr. Green and his team, and Mr. Rivera is a part of that team for the last 6 years, they've done a great job of getting us to this point. And now we get an opportunity to kind of take that next step as a school system. The first round was reviewed by the School Governance Council. There are about 7 members there. We invited 2 others to be a part of that as well. So we had 9 people reviewing the applicants, grading them on a rubric, and then conducting the first interview. Ms. Collins leads that for us every year or anytime we have an opening. So that team went through an interview of about 5 or 6 candidates, narrowed it down to 3. And then Mr. Rivera, along with a couple of other finalists, went through a very, very intensive back-to-back interview with cabinet, students, and staff. It was about a dozen or so staff, a dozen or so students, and then my cabinet. And so they had 45 minutes with each group. And at the end, by that afternoon, I had already offered the job. Actually, I didn't offer the job to Mr. Rivera. I think I said just congratulations. So he has not officially accepted, I guess, with it. But tonight, he's going to get approved. And so just really excited because it was the support was overwhelming from everybody involved, and Mr. Rivera and his commitment, not only to Gainesville City Schools, but most importantly, just like kids. Everybody knows that if you've been with Mr. Rivera, he cares about you. All of our families for the last 2 to 3 years have been through the freshman academy and 9th grade academy with Mr. Rivera. So there's a familiarity there that all of our families just feel comfortable and confident in as we take this next step. So Mr. Rivera, just want to introduce you to the board. And if you'd like to say a few words, just really excited to put you on the agenda tonight and be able to have you serve as our next principal. The bad part is you won't be paid until Mr. Green leaves, but the work you put in these next few months is going to be very instrumental to the leadership you bring. So congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, to you, Dr. Williams, and the board, I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I'll also be remiss if I don't say thank you to Mr. Green, that although it's a bittersweet moment, I am in a couple of months taking over, but we are losing a tremendous leader there at Gainesville High School, and somebody who it's going to be tough to kind of follow. But I've learned a lot over the last couple of years, and I just know that I'm truly ready for this opportunity. So I'm looking forward to just being an asset, being to enhance what we already do there at Gainesville High School, and from moving the school from good to possibly great. So I want to thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you to my wife of 31 years who've been with me since then, and you know, struggling parents early on at 19-year-old, and we both kind of done our part to get where we are today. So thank you very much.
Congratulations. Dr. Williams on the board self-assessment.
At 7 o'clock this evening, you're going to get a scheduled email from me. This is part of that exemplary board application we've done the last few years. It's just you as a board member, or 2 new board members, you get an opportunity to kind of give us some feedback on how we operate as a board and maybe some improvement areas of how we function. So just know there's an email coming out later this evening that you'll be receiving.
Schedule email.
Love it.
So all of y'all who think Dr. Williams is up every morning sending out emails at 5 o'clock.
I used to, and I would lose sleep over it because if I didn't get up right on time, it bothered me. Thankfully, during COVID, the schedules send became available.
All right, Mrs. Rowland, you're gonna give us an update on the Horizon Academy.
Yeah, as Ms. Rowland comes up, I'll give you just kind of a little bit of a background and history of Horizon, what we're doing, where we are, kind of the successes, and then she'll share with you some of the data points and all of that. And then we've got an interesting motion a little bit later that is going to take Horizon to the next level. So if you remember last March, we presented to you a new 5-year charter system contract. We've been a charter system in Gainesville City Schools for 15 years, one of the first charters in the state. We had a 5-year contract and a 10-year contract. And when we went through the process of identifying our needs, the number one priority that popped up on the needs tied into Horizon Academy and the need for a non-traditional school for our students. You look at Gainesville High, and there are currently about 2,400 students, give or take, right now at Gainesville High School, but over a 4-year period, there are about 3,500 kids that come in and out of Gainesville High School. We have less than 400 students that go from 8th grade to 12th grade with us, who have been with us consistently those 5 years. And what that means is that we have opportunities to serve students that we don't really know. Whether that means they come in lacking credits and they need to graduate, or they come in new to the country and they may not know education in the US. We wind up having an opportunity to take a program that we kicked off this year, which was a program within Gainesville High School at Horizon, that Ms. Rowland will share some data points with you, but also growing that then into its own separate school next year. And when you look at Horizon, I kind of look at it as two bookends. You have a bookend of newcomers who could be one of 2,500 on Gainesville High School campus that need more of a cohort type face-to-face model to give them the support and structure to be successful. On the other bookend, you may have students who transferred here at 17 years old with 5 credits to the name. And our goal is to get them out within the 4 years of when they started 9th grade. And so you have to be creative on both ends. One of them is you're giving that newcomer group an opportunity to be successful early on. For our grad lab kids, that's giving those students an opportunity to graduate with a high school diploma and take that next step. And so I've asked Ms. Rowland to give us an update about our first year with Horizon Academy as that program and the successes we've had and kind of where we'll jump off. Ms. Rowland.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. So Horizon Academy, just like Dr. Williams stated, currently serves 2 separate programs. We have our Newcomer Academy, which was designed to serve the needs of students entering the United States from various other countries. These students learn basic English skills while also taking a full load of academic core content classes and electives. Our graduation lab was created to serve at-risk and off-track students. Each student is paired with an academic support teacher that creates an individual learning plan and progress monitors students' course completion. So this is one of my favorite slides within this presentation because of the many different smiling faces you see here. Our newcomer program serves students from all over the world and helps them acclimate to American culture and schooling. Within this snapshot, you see students from Honduras, the Congo, Venezuela, and Colombia. We work hard to build a culture of inclusion and love to celebrate each person's culture and heritage, but I've placed an emphasis this year in teaching them about American traditions and holidays. You'll notice in the middle picture here, a photo that we have of students standing within the pumpkin patch. We held a fall festival this year at Horizon where we invited students and their families to join us at the school to learn more about the fall traditions in America and show off some of the awesome schoolwork that students had completed in their classes. Our families participated in scavenger hunts, games, and a staff chili cook-off. I learned very quickly that chili does not translate well, as parents and students thought we were eating peppers. So a snapshot of our enrollment for newcomers. We currently serve 104, or over the course of the year, have served 114 newcomer students. Those students within the first semester earned 522 credits, and by the end of this semester have potential to earn up to 504. Just to let you know, our students are on a 6-period block schedule that has allowed them the opportunity to earn up to 6 credits each semester.
So when you look at the newcomer piece here, and you think about students from other countries coming to the US and coming to Gainesville High School, we really want to make sure that we're putting them on a successful path to be able to graduate. When you're in a class with 7 periods and you may not have the attention that Ms. Rowland and her team are able to provide, there's no way you'd be able to earn over 1,000 credits with 114 kids. And so it's just really a testament to the number of kids being served and the transiency even within that group, because Ms. Rowland, as soon as they come, they may not be staying the full time. And so our goal with the newcomer is to get those students in a situation where they can transfer to Gainesville High School and hopefully finish out their high school career.
So that is the ultimate goal
For newcomer.
for a newcomer, is to get to the.
Now, we may wind up running into students who realize they really like that environment, then we've got to get more creative on the scheduling as they get into that, junior and senior year. But right now, our target is 9th and 10th grade, or at least some kids that may be first year in the US, but maybe a little bit older. They may be 16 or 17, but they still may be first year, and so they would be served at Newcomer Academy first.
And just to let you know, we had 30 students that transitioned back to GHS at the beginning of January due to the total credits that they had already earned and their growth in language acquisition. So our graduation lab. I didn't know that I could find a passion bigger than newcomers until I had the opportunity to work with the graduation lab. These students are some of the hardest working students on Gainesville's campus. Working hard to overcome adversities to graduate within their cohort, our top priority lies within our 2024 cohort class, which is currently made of 88 students. This snapshot here provides a glimpse at the students that we serve. It could be the transfer student that was needing a program to meet his individual needs, the Gainesville student that has a harder goal that was impacted by medical issues, or students that are looking to join the workforce or already a part of the workforce that needed a flexible schedule to meet their needs.
What's neat is going in the grad lab, kids, they have their own space. Like they always wind up getting in the same desk and sitting in the same area. But what's neat is to see them personalize that with bringing in things from the house or little trinkets and other stuff to kind of make it like a home office almost for them, because we want them to be comfortable. We want them to be in a position where they can be successful. And you can see in that middle picture, you see some images down at the bottom, like they're bringing their little toys or whatever they may have to help make it feel a little more homey.
It's the whole chipmunk group. So some numbers for the graduation lab. Our grad lab numbers are at 120, okay? That means we have served the cohort 2023, 12 students, 2024, 88 students, 2025, 28 students, and 2026, 6 students. Students earned within the first semester 292 credits. Our February number has already risen to 361. We have 88 cohort 2024 students. We graduated 7 of those in December. 60 of those students are currently now on track for graduation.
So if you look at those numbers there, that means the 12 in 2023, they stayed with us. They needed a 5th year in order to graduate. And so we're able to serve them. It also looks like we're about 28 kids now away from really having as high of a graduation rate as we could possibly have. And that was the whole purpose of using Grad Lab in this manner.
And I apologize, I should also let you know that 7 of those 12 2023s also graduated in December. Parent engagement. If there is one thing that I can tell you Horizon Academy does really well, it's parent engagement. At the beginning of the year, in August 2023, we met with 88 individual families to have conferences with students coming into the graduation lab. Within each of these meetings, alongside myself, our counselor, Ms. Escamilla, and also the grad lab team members consisting of the academic support coaches in that room, we took time to get to know each family and student. We discuss barriers, goals, and determine an overall plan of success for each individual. That 35 in the middle is a number of family conferences that we held on our February workday. During that time, we created a detailed intervention plan for each student that included full day participation, Saturday school, and goal setting for courses. Of the 35 students that we met with that day, 31 of those showed up for Saturday school last week. In addition to the support that we're doing on our graduation side with parent engagement, we also have set aside some parent engagement for newcomers and their families. We have hosted 6 school-wide parent events for newcomers, monthly coffee with a coordinator, fall in the hall at Horizon, and we are currently working on a spring event as well. So we've talked about where we've been this year, and now we're looking towards the future of Horizon. Where we currently serve just the graduation lab and also the newcomer academy, we're looking to add remote learning and the Mountain Ed Center as a part of the model for Horizon for the future. That remote learning will be an application process for students interested in that remote learning. These students must be on track for graduation in order to be accepted into the remote learning program and possess intrinsic motivation to complete classwork. Mountain Education will exist as our night school option for students that are needing different hours for work or family reasons.
So when you look at Horizon in general, they're all non-traditional options. So it may be a morning opportunity like a grad lab, an afternoon or an evening like Mountain Ed. It may be a student who doesn't want the typical involvement at high school, and so they want to do their virtual classes. That's an opportunity as well, and also newcomers. So when you think about us serving our students, it puts a lot on the high school to try and meet the needs of all of these wide ranges of kids in one environment. And Ms. Roll and her team have done a great job of running this pilot program this year that's going to give us a chance to grow it, which you'll hear about a little bit later in the board meeting.
Thank you. Any questions?
Are there any questions?
There's been a pilot program currently for remote learning.
No.
What was the pilot program?
So both the newcomers and the grad
Oh,
lab,
those
those two
two,
pilot
okay.
programs.
I thought Mountain Ed was run by someone else.
It is.
Okay.
So there can, but the way they changed the law a year ago was that they still have a home school. And so for the home school would be Horizon.
Okay.
But they run the full evening program separate from what we do.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mrs. Roll.
Thank y'all.
Before I go into action items, do we have anybody here from Leadership Hall? No.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry, if you could, please stand up, tell us your name and tell us what organization you're with.
I'm Lieutenant Kel Cooley. I'm the Commandant at Riverside Military Academy. And I also come from Jamie Green's old school.
All right.
I can tell you some stories. We've heard about those, and that's why. I'm Derek Booth, and I'm Public Information Officer at the Hall County Sheriff's Office.
Hi, Derek, welcome. Okay, first action item, Dr. Williams, we'll turn it to you.
Every year, we bring this forward and it's just a legislative position, but we have the opportunity to nominate 2 people to be our delegates for the summer conference with GSBA that happens in June. I will tell you that sometimes I know there's interest to go to that. There is not interest to go to that conference. Some districts send people, some do not. So if y'all would like to move forward in having 2 delegates, whether or not you're going to the conference, that's not required, but did want to present this as an opportunity to nominate 2 people to send to the GSBA conference in June, which is in Savannah.
When is it in June?
6, 7, 8.
It's that first full weekend.
First one.
A little bit later than usual.
Normally it's the chair and the vice chair. I didn't put that up there.
Yeah, I'm assuming that, that's not a dead week for high school athletics. Dead weeks week before. Okay. That'd be happy to get.
Hmm?
Be happy to get it. Am I making a motion to send myself?
Yeah, that's good.
Sure.
We don't have to send two, if there's just one, that's fine as well.
We have a second.
I'll take it.
All right, Stacy and Chris. You make that was for, you want to second the motion?
Yeah. Let's second the motion to, for Chris and Stacy to attend or be our delegates. Is that the?
All right, all those in favor? Motion carries.
Appreciate the excitement.
All right, next up is Mrs. Fowler.
Yeah. Miss Fowler usually gets to bring all her stuff at one time of the year and in a consent agenda, so it's nice to see Miss Fowler having items separate.
New Holland, Knowledge Academy and Gainesville Exploration Academy are in need of new hot and cold pass-through units. The units they have currently are 20 years old. We've received 3 quotes and Manning Brothers had the lowest quote. And they're from out of Athens. And this will be paid for with food nutrition federal reimbursement funds.
So these
You
are
are
original.
enlightening us lay people as to what a hot, cold.
You don't know what that is?
Pass-through unit is.
It's a big tall unit. They're hot and cold. And if you ever visit any of the kitchens and you walk in at the serving line, I'm sorry, if you notice at the back of the wall, you'll normally see 4 units and 2 are hot and 2 are cold. And that's how we hold our food for the students. We do batch cooking all throughout the day.
Ms. Fowler, out of curiosity, what is a typical life of of this type of equipment? How long do you normally expect it to last? Is 20 years?
I think
Just-
20 years is excellent.
Because these are original. to
These
both
are
schools.
original.
Yeah,
They were put in 2003.
I was just curious.
So we've done our due diligence and my technician is, struggling to get parts for them. So we got to make it last 1 more year. So we did that.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this purchase.
All right, we got a motion by Mr. Norrell, second by Mr. Gunn. All those in favor? Motion
Thank you
carries.
so much.
All right, Mr. Niles,
Actually, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Want to switch around.
How are y'all this evening?
Doing well.
So I wanted to bring before y'all tonight, we're looking to purchase 2 F-150s for our maintenance department, what we call the white fleet. These will replace 2 trucks that we currently have, 2 older ones. We're going to fund, the funding source will be the general fund out of our maintenance and operations budget. The company is going to be Allen Vigil Ford. That's who has the government state contract in the amount of $94,659.
One of the questions we get from time to time is, was there an opportunity to go local on some of these purchases? And to the state, we'll do the bidding statewide, and then you have a government contract. And so this is a state approved, which is why you don't see 3 bids on here. It's already been vetted by the state. So that's why you see Allen Vigil Ford government sales on here.
So no local Ford dealerships participate in government sales.
So they only award it to 1 dealership statewide. And in the past, the local dealerships hadn't been able to match that price.
And so with this type of contract, we go to the state and say, we want 2 Ford F-150s, and they say, this is the price.
Yes. That's when we go to Allen Vigil and we fill out a form that's the state checklist. Yes.
And do we trade in our 2 old vehicles? Do we get a trade in that, or is it just,
Straight out purchase.
what do we do with our current?
So the 2 older ones, we will keep in our fleet for when these are out of service for any reason, maintenance, repairs, stuff like that. So because currently if one is out of service, then we're just down the truck.
And right now, we're having to double up in some areas we wouldn't typically double up. So this allows us to spread our guys out a little bit more.
What's the current turnaround times on work orders due to transportation?
We're shooting for 2 to 3 days on our work orders. For all the schools? Yes. Sir.
Are there any other questions, Mr. President? I have a motion to.
I'm sorry. Just trying to think of how to phrase it. I haven't purchased a car in 20 years, so when I saw that, it gave me heartburn. But then, you go looking and I'm like, oh, I guess this isn't really a bad price.
If you could find a pickup truck brand new for 38 grand, it's pretty daggone good.
Yes, I mean, it seemed pretty reasonable to me, so I guess my only question is how long are y'all seeing that you're able to keep the trucks and,
So the majority of our fleet that's in service right now was purchased in 2014.
okay,
So that's 10 years and
Yeah,
and
that's
we're only,
great.
we hope, they still got a lot of life on them.
And I think they're both over a couple 100,000 miles.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the 2 new trucks.
Got a motion by Mr. Nordholt, second by Mr. Young, all those in favor? Thank you, Mr. President, you will be presenting.
I'm back again. I'll be on twice. The second one is, we want to continue our flooring replacement at Gainesville Middle School East. So what we're doing is we currently have the VCT flooring, and we will be covering it up with LVT, which is a lot lower maintenance, and it also is a much more modern look to it.
So this is what went into Centennial, been in GMS West, the high school. We also did, I believe, at GEA, New Holland. And I think is this our last school that can have it?
This will be
At least for a while.
Yes, sir. This will be our biggest one.
Yeah.
And then the remaining ones will be a lot smaller.
The 2 schools that don't have it right now in the classrooms would be Mundy Mill and Anoka, but they're both just 6 and 7 years old, so there's no need to worry about that yet.
And Mr. President, you just said that this would continue the installation. You meant system-wide. We don't currently have any of this at GMS East, right? This would be putting this
This
in
is
for the
system-wide.
first
Yeah,
time,
this will be
right?
the first time there.
Okay. I didn't know if maybe we had already done half of GMS East, but no, so this is all of that news of that school.
And they'll put it over the existing VCT.
Yes. So we had 2 bids, DCO commercial floors and AAA commercial floors. And we're recommending to the superintendent to enter in with AAA flooring, $507,956.
Any other questions, Mr. President?
And I'll do that over the summer.
Yes, ma'am.
spring break? Mad dash.
That's right.
I make a motion that we approve the installation of the flooring at GMS East.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Nordholz, a second by Dr. Ramsey. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I want to put in the work order. I'm gonna check it.
That's a great.
I was back to do it myself. Didn't know somebody was talking about me if I didn't turn it up. Couldn't hear it. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Williams, the floor is yours for an exciting.
Yeah, so you heard earlier tonight from Ms. Rowland, who's currently the coordinator and starting in July will be the principal at Horizon Academy. Our goal all along for the last few years was to build a non-traditional program that serves the needs of our students that's difficult to serve. With the goal of making sure that they either have the skills necessary to move into Gainesville High School and be successful, or the credits necessary to then graduate and move on into the workforce or whatever their future aspirations may be. If you've noticed over the last few meetings, we as a board, of course, we met in executive session to discuss property. And as a part of that, tonight I bring forward a recommendation to approve the property located at 332 Washington Street, to approve the purchase contract, approve a reimbursement resolution, and 1.5 commission to Don Carter Realty. The documents are there. They'll be public when this meeting is over, but I do want to share with you just kind of the images that we have here, just to kind of orient you to where we are, where Horizon would be located at the property, which is currently the Home Star Financial Services, but also where Gainesville High School is. So going back to the summer, Mr. Niles and I met with Doug Carter to kind of start looking for a more permanent home for Horizon Academy. As a part of that, we did want something that was close to Gainesville High School. Just from a vicinity standpoint, we felt like if we were too far away, that it wouldn't have that complementary partnership that we want between the two schools. And we looked at a couple different properties. About the third or fourth property we looked at was the property at 332 Washington Street. The neat part of this story is that used to be the site of Gainesville High School from the 30s. It's also known as the Gym of 36 building. The building has been converted into office spaces. We will be converting it, the third floor, into some classroom space, maintaining the office space on the second level for the main office of Horizon, as well as the grad lab. The third floor will be the newcomers. And then we will be moving our academics and student support services to the first floor. So Gainesville City Schools will have a presence again, just off the square here in Gainesville. So when we started to look for properties, we knew we wanted to be creative, and this gives us a chance to take the program that's been successful this year and look at growing it into what now is about 235 students, growing it more up to 300 or 400, and getting really creative with how we serve our kids. We know we want to give them a secure environment where they can learn versus Gainesville High School. It's real spread out. And so it's kind of a competing idea in some ways of what we have now on the Gainesville High School campus, but we look forward to serving kids at this site. So tonight you see Horizon, which will be located at the Homestar building. Our school board office here on Oak Street, where we're located now, you can see it in the background. And then Gainesville High School continuing on down Oak Street, going on down to Century Place, you can see it as well. So that is one image to orient you to it. The next one is a street view of the current building. And then the last one here is kind of back from the square looking towards it. So tonight, we're bringing forward a recommendation to $10.6 million is the contracted amount. We would be closing tomorrow. We would be paying for this in bonds that have been approved this morning by the Gainesville Hall County Development Authority. Those would be issued in May. So that means, well, if we're closing tomorrow, how are we, making that difference between now and May? We would be using our reserve or a general fund to close tomorrow. Once the bonds are being issued in May, it'll pay back the general fund, and that's why the reimbursement resolution is included with this approval. We've been working with Tread Siphon, with Stewart, Melvin, and Frost to lead us through this process. Been working with Stiefel on the bond piece, which are the same entities we worked with when we did the large bond development back in 2020. So this is tonight a request to approve the contract at 332 Washington Street, also approve the reimbursement resolution, and then approve the 1.5% commission to Don Carter Realty.
Dr. Williams, that when these bonds are issued in May, to pay back the general fund for the money we'll outlay at the closing, we then pay the bond back through the SPLOST.
Correct.
Just like our other.
Yeah, good point. So we currently receive just over $1 million a month in these SPLOST collections. Half of that is going to our current indebtedness. This would be about $100,000 a month. So about 60% of our SPLOST collections would go to pay off our bond indebtedness total. Both Gainesville Middle School West, all of the high school, as well as this building. It would put us in a position for us to grow in a couple of different ways, but it also does not restrict us necessarily on our SPLOST collections and what we've committed to pay in our bond debt. We, as a school system, decided when we asked the community to support us back in 2020 that we would not use our bond debt millage rate to pay on that. And we have not yet done that. We do not plan on doing that. Our collections have been very healthy. We continue to draw in just over $1 million, like I mentioned. And so about 60% of our bond debt, or 60% of our SPLOST collections will be paying off our bond debt, which is the lowest percentage of bond indebtedness we've had from SPLOST collections, at least in the last probably 15 to 20 years.
And I also want to clarify, this from my building standpoint and utilization from what Ms. Rowland talked about with Newcomer Academy, Mountain Ed, Graduation Lab, and remote learning. It's all that now going to be housed?
No, Mountain Ed will continue to be the ninth grade center because it is a separate entity and we won't have a presence there while they're there. We want to keep it as secure as possible. So the remote learning would be from home, so that they would not take up space. The grad lab right now is rotating half the students in the morning, half in the afternoon. So that keeps the numbers down, but the third floor is dedicated to newcomers. We can get 8 full-size classrooms in there and then 4 smaller classrooms for breakouts as well as a conference room.
And so the maximum that it can hold per classroom is, how many students can?
We don't want to go over 20. It'll hold more than that, but with it being our ESOL students, we want to hold it less than 20. 17 to 20 is going to be the range.
Are there any other questions of Dr. Williams? We have a motion to approve the contract in both resolutions.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Nordholz, I hear a second.
Second.
Second by Dr. Lindsay, all those in favor? Motion carries. I know we had a lot of thoughtful discussions and tough discussions, but I think this is exciting for Ms. Rowland and her team. I think Dr. Williams, you said part of your staff will go to this new building.
So part of the idea was the fact that when we're dealing with Horizon, getting it off the ground, we wanted to be successful. So we will be moving our academics and student supports over there. We may or may not be moving my office over there. We've grown here. And so be spreading some things out across the district a little bit, but it will allow us to be more in tune with what's happening in Horizon and also helping provide that support to make sure our students are being successful.
Thank you. All right, do we have any discussion on it? Do I have a motion to adjourn into executive session?
So moved.
Got a motion by Dr. Ramsey, second by Mr. Young. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank y'all for coming.